Okay, I'm recording, Eddie.
All right, solid. Okay, so welcome to episode 3 of our absolutely amazing podcast where we talk about absolutely amazing things. Today we will be discussing the halo effect, um, and it's correlating different ideas. We have multiple that we could possibly bring up. I'm not sure what it'll be, but there's a lot of different possibilities. But with the halo effect, I shall begin. All right, so the origins of the halo effect really came from this man. He was a psychologist named Edward Thorndike. It's really interesting because my name's also Edward. Anyways, okay.
And my
So,
name is Leo, if you forgot that.
oh
Just
yeah,
saying. Just saying.
Okay. So Edward Thorndike, he coined this term in 1920, and he made a paper, and it was an experiment called the constant error in psychological ratings, and the basic outline of this experiment was he would ask commanding officers in the military to evaluate qualities of his or her subordinate soldiers. And these characteristics often included leadership, physical appearance, intelligence, loyalty, and dependability. And his goal was to determine how these ratings bled over into different qualities and assessments of other characteristics. All right. And he found that high ratings of particular qualities correlated to high ratings of other characteristics. So, for example, a high rating in intelligence or physical appearance often bled over into a high rating for their leadership or their high rating for their loyalty or dependability. And he said these quote unquote correlations were too high and too even. So, for example, the next three raters studied the average correlation for physique with intelligence, and it was 31%. For physique with leadership, it was 39%. And for physique with character, it was 28%. So it's very obvious that all these characteristics, if you were at a particularly high rating in one of them, that there was a chance that you would have a high rating in another. So this is kind of where it started. And from this, a lot of different sociologists and psychologists kind of studied this effect and started to create the modern day term of the halo effect.
Yeah, and one of those psychologists was actually Solomon Asch. He's a famous famous for his so-called stick experiment. We're not going to discuss it during this podcast, but one of his other experiments was actually the one conducted 20 years after the Thorndike's experiment. Am I pronouncing that right? Thorndike? I think I am
so.
right. No offense, Mr. Thorndike.
It could be Thorndike.
Yeah, I don't know. Like, no one knows. So this Solomon Asch's experiment was actually this. So there was this focus group like made out of like some random participants. Once again, just random people aged 20 to 45 years old, right? And they were presented a list of adjectives, and each one of them was presented a different list of adjectives at first. There were 3 sets of adjectives that they were presented. So basically, the first set, in the first set, there were 10 adjectives, and the list was starting with positive adjectives like good, benevolent, not aggressive, some stuff like that, right? And then, and the other one, the second one, would start with the negative ones, and the third one would be like benevolent, aggressive. It would just mix them all together. So what Solomon Asch was trying to prove, that he was actually trying to find more evidence for this so-called halo effect, right? That when the first impression matters, basically. And so when people were presented with this list of adjectives, when it would say, for example, Eddie, right? Eddie is a benevolent, a very kind, I don't know, just give me some adjectives. Eddie.
All right. Continue.
What? You're trying to, like, what are you trying to do?
Okay. Go.
No,
Ignore that happened. No, it's okay.
This is important. Remember, first impression is very important. So why are you trying to worsen your first impression?
What's the accent all of a sudden?
I don't know, just pops up sometimes. I don't know what to do with that. You know, like a little. We need to digress a little bit, just a little bit. I'm not a fan of TikTok, but my brother one day he showed me this video. Like,
you have a brother? Okay. I didn't even know you had a brother.
Oh, I do have a brother. What are you talking about? I have like a brother who's like 15-year-old.
Oh, I never knew this. Jeez.
Oh, yeah. I mean, it's whatever. But so I have a brother and he showed me this video on TikTok and it says like 1 day in Russia, like speaking fluent English, right? No accent. One week in Russia,
I
one
know where this is
month in
going.
Russia. And then it would swear in Russian a little bit. But
A tiny
anyway,
bit.
just we needed a little digression.
That was
Okay.
very good digression, Leo.
Yeah.
Thank you for that.
We're over with the digression. So now
Okay.
we're actually going to talk about the experiment and its results. So what he actually found out that people who were presented the positive adjectives first, they would later on, even if they would be presented with some negative character traits of those people, they would still perceive those people as more good, so to say, right? They would perceive them as more intelligent and they would rate them as better people. So this comes back to the halo effect and like the importance of the first impression. And actually, there are so many ways in which this first impression matters. Imagine you're on an interview, like trying to apply for a job, right?
Mhm.
And one might say that like your resume might matter, right? That you have a lot of
Yeah.
experience, a lot of stuff. But imagine if you would just like come in a teared apart polo jacket. Your hair would be so super messy. You were I don't know. You would look very very bad, as if you were I don't know, as if you were running marathons for the past like week. You would look tired and all that. What first impression would you make? You would like
Athletic, very enduring,
that's a good one. That's a good one.
hardworking.
But it doesn't really help like with your job appliance, you know? When you apply for a job, like people that's actually a very interesting topic because nowadays people do this like blind interviews. You know what are
Where
those?
you can't see like the person.
Oh yes. Oh yes.
That sounds like a terrible idea.
Why?
Actually, no, that's kind of a good idea. But here's the
Exactly.
thing. It's already everything's already down in like the resume or the application that you've submitted. Like everything that they can know about you is already there. For like
Exactly.
a lot of that stuff.
Yes,
Except for what you
yes.
look like. Actually, wait, that's actually such a good idea. Why don't people do that more often? Well,
They do that. They do that. But some big companies that's still trying to like see the person, they try to like they think they are going to be objective no matter what. And like it's fair to say that if you're hiring a person, right, you want to see him, right? You actually want to see him. It's like it's okay. It's like it's normal to want to see a person you are going to work with. It's fine, right? But this desire to see a person can actually become a factor why he's not going to be hired or why he is going to be hired, because people
yeah.
think they're going to be objective about their hiring methods and their judging methods, but actually they're not at
Yeah,
all.
and that's like all due to your first impression on top of the halo or thorn effect,
Thorndike.
which yeah, okay. Well,
Yeah, we'll short it, yeah.
all right, yeah, okay. So basically, on top of the thing that you mentioned about the first impression thing, so we have the halo effect, which is like you could call it the physical attractiveness stereotype, and it's just a cognitive bias, right? Where like if you're attractive or successful or like likable, they see you as intelligent, kind, and funny. There's like these different positive characteristics that are attributed to you depending on what people see or hear or think of you in the very first place. So that's the halo effect, because the halo is like, oh, he's like the perfect human being, or like that kind of idea. But and then we have the horn effect, which is not the thorn effect. It's just the horn effect.
Just sounds
um,
similar, yeah.
it's basically the exact opposite of the halo effect, in which a single negative characteristics that attributed to you, like you mentioned in that thing that you literally just said, was like if a negative characteristic is attributed to you or like likened to you,
Yeah.
then it's more likely that you'll be seen as a negative human being. So I guess all those tied together, if you're going for a job application and you sat down and I don't know, somehow a negative characteristic was attributed to you and their cognitive bias determined that you were an overall bad person, but
Yeah.
your resume says otherwise, for example, and you're just not going to get hired for that. I mean, you could, it's just like your percentages go decrease significantly.
Unfortunately,
But I
that
think
is
it's
true.
like like you can't ignore, you can't No, what's the word? You can't.
1 second. Ignorant.
No, incorrect. You
Uh,
can't escape that reality that cognitive bias will always play a role in no matter what you were doing. Voice crack.
mm,
What you were doing. So if you apply for a job, I don't know, making friends, whatever you do, seeing a person on the street, cognitive bias will always play a role. And I
yeah.
think it's difficult. It's really difficult to try to get rid of that factor because let's say you end up doing these blind applications, for example, or these blind interviews in which you don't see the person, but and they get hired. It's also highly likely that you're not going to like them after they get hired, and it's just
Mm,
a whole set of new problems that arise. And although we hate cognitive bias and like all this good stuff about more bad stuff about like halo effect and horn effect, like it's just too natural and too like inherent in our people that you can't really get rid of it. I personally think,
mm.
and it's just
No,
whether it be good or
I
bad.
actually agree with you, Eddie. And this goes on to like, like you know how unfortunately this is true. And what's the biggest problem here? That most of the people do not even realize that they can be subjective, that their judging can be wrong, that they
Yeah,
can judge by those stereotypes. That's like the biggest problem. Like imagine like if people would actually agree that okay, we know that we can be subjective sometimes. We'll try to do something with that. We'll try to eliminate that. But unfortunately, most people are so stubborn. They're not going to do that.
they are ignorant. That's the word
They,
that you're looking for. They're ignorant
let's
to the fact that
go.
exists. I was
Yeah.
okay. We will not name the human being, but I was talking to this person a few days ago about a specific subject,
Yeah.
um, and we were discussing implicit bias. And this person refused to believe that there was like a unconscious or like subconscious mind that were making decisions for them. And I was like,
Eddie, let me
it was
interrupt
so
you for a
bad.
second. Let me interrupt you for a second. So, would you name the implicit bias? Like, would you define it? I mean, because most of our viewers don't really know what this is about. I mean, yeah.
Like implicit bias, like
Yeah,
what
the
it is.
implicit bias. Yeah, yeah. Just
It's
define
like
it and then keep telling the story
it's like
because
it's like an unconscious like attribution to like a particular quality about a person and like a certain like social group. So like it's like shaped by like your experiences, your past experiences. It's an unconscious bias or an
yeah.
implicit stereotype that you put on someone without you recognizing that you're doing it. It could be even it could be it's usually connected or tied to like social biases, but I think it also does have a lot to do with like a lot of different things. It could just be like things that your mind or your brain takes into account even without you recognizing that you're doing it. And a lot of people surprisingly don't admit that this is true. They think that all the decisions that they make, 100% of it is made by their conscious mind. They're like, I consciously decided to do this, which yes, to a certain extent, yes, you did. You pulled it out from your subconscious, your unconscious mind, and you decide to apply that in real life and say it. But like so much.
So basically, it's implicit bias is about like your subconsciousness playing a role and your consciousness not realizing that it is playing a role.
Yeah, exactly. And I feel like that's kind of like you have to be aware that you have a subconscious that
Yes,
is
exactly.
affecting you.
You have to process it through your consciousness and realize that you can be unconscious, because like most of the people, what they be like, they when you would tell them, okay, here, like you have this bias, you clearly have this bias, look at this, like from this way, from my perspective, right? You have this, like, I don't know even how to say it, like you have this like little bias you have. Let's not name this bias, but whatever,
He
you have
likes
this.
he likes bubble gum over mint gum.
Okay, yes. Let's just say this is his bias. He's a her bias, right? But he would tell you, no, I just like this sometimes. I like that sometimes. I don't have a bias. Don't like what are you talking about? And the thing is that it's his consciousness playing with him, like a little game, because that's why it's called subconsciousness. And
Yeah.
it's not, we'll digress a little bit and talk about system one and system two thinking. Eddie, you know who is Daniel Kahneman?
No, sir.
It's one of the most famous psychologists of like the modern times, I would say, and
Oh, okay.
he has this great book. I think you've heard of it. It's called Think Fast, something think. Actually, it's like Think Fast, Think Slow, something like that.
Think fast and think slow.
No. It's something different. Sorry, guys, I totally forgot about it. I read it like a couple of years ago, and the name just popped out of my head. Whatever. But the thing is that he talked about system 1 and system 2 thinking. So he divided our thinking into 2 categories. So he would say that system 1 thinking is the quick thinking that we don't really have to think about it, like because you know how sometimes well, Eddie, let me ask you a question. Like, what does 2 plus 2 equal to?
I think it's 4.
Yeah, you're actually right, Eddie.
Let's
But
go.
the thing is that you didn't have to think about it, and that was your system 1 thinking. It was
I had to
very
think about
quick.
it.
It was very quick because it was somewhere in your subconsciousness already, the answer to that
Yeah.
question. You didn't have to process it. But what if I'll tell you, okay, multiply 123 by 85? Exactly, that faces the answer. You don't have to actually answer. And the thing is that I'm not trying to offend your mathematical abilities, Eddie, here. It's just
I'm not. Yeah, my mathematical abilities lack, but it's okay.
I mean, oh, what is wrong with my
Oh.
Oh my God, this is a perfect moment. A perfect moment. What the? Oh my God. This is perfect.
All right.
Okay.
All right.
I think I'm good now. It should reconnect in a second. Okay, connected. And why it is not connected? Oh,
Oh yes, this is amazing. Can you hear that?
what is going on?
Well, while he fixes a little camera issue, whatever's going on over there, I'd like to mention how the halo effect or the horn effect, which we've kind of digressed from, which is like whatever, but um, it really plays a role in literally every single part of your life. Like, for example, in education, in the workplace, in marketing, like everything. Like, so there was this study in like a research study in education where like a teacher interacts with different students, and um, they were what do you call it? The teachers, the professors were asked to complete the survey or like this to see how their grades or their what do you call it, like the teachers notes, how like um the feedback, yeah, correlated to the different students. And it said that a group of 28 students um then rated the attractiveness of a student on a scale of 1 to 10. Very shallow, I know. And then divided the group into below average, average, and above average assessment grades. And it showed that those students that had a higher attractiveness rating on the 20 of the 28 people had a higher um, graded average in assessments. And it shows that even teachers um, interact with students differently based on their perception of attractiveness of that student. And teachers had better expectations of kids when they were rated as being more attractive. And this kind of shows how the halo effect even plays. And I'm 100% sure these teachers aren't saying, oh, this kid's a very attractive child. Like, I'm sure that this person's like going to pop off in life. It's like, that's not how it works. It's like unconscious, subconsciously, your preconscious brain is like, yo, attractive, smart, intelligent. It just connects those things together. It's like how it works in this world. And that goes to like, I think this is just an example I feel like could apply to like you as well, or like anybody that's listening. If you see a celebrity that you like that is promoting a brand, for example, this is like marketing, for example,
Yeah.
your perception of that brand significantly increases. It's like, oh, like this guy's celebrity is like my dream human being. It's perfect. Just like this product that they're promoting must be perfect. And it carries on like that. And if you see someone that you hate promote a product, you're like, that product probably sucks. And that's kind of how it works.
Yeah. I that's actually a great point because that shows how first impression plays roles everywhere, like everywhere. And like there it goes even rap. Do you listen to rap? Just sometimes, Eddie. Do you listen
Yes,
to rap?
sir. I
Okay,
do.
there are like those rappers who suddenly like come up with they're called freshmen, right? When they get famous like by one song. So they have this
Oh, uh-huh.
one song that is a hit, right?
Yeah.
One of the One of them is a rapper called Designer. You know his you know his famous track called Panda,
Yeah.
like Panda, 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 whatever. We're not on a rap contest here, but yeah, I would probably win it, but it's whatever. So he had this famous track called Panda. Uh,
Panda.
yeah, and actually the thing is that I'm pretty sure there was copyrighted from some other artist, and he just made it famous by launching a video or something like that. But it doesn't really matter. But what actually matters is that this rapper was still perceived as a good rapper just by this one song. So he made an impression on people only by this song. And no matter what he was like singing or rapping in the next like year or so, this first impression still made it impossible for like people to perceive him as a bad rapper. You know what I
Hmm.
mean? Even if he like, so for example, if someone not knowing Designer, right, would listen to his song, like to one of his bad songs, right, without listening to Panda and without knowing that he is famous, right, he would probably perceive it as mediocre or even
Trash.
as trash. Yes, trash. You're trash. You're right.
Trash.
Trash. It's such a good word. I don't know why, but digressing again. Okay. So but if that this same guy would actually know that Designer is a famous rapper, and he would know that he had this famous track called Panda, no matter what, he is not gonna say, oh, that's trash, like, because he had this first impression of Panda being good and Designer being cool. You know what I
And
mean?
like, I think, um, okay, so I think on top of that, it makes you more receptive. So, for example, if there's someone that you find positive, which is, let's say that you like Designer and you like the song Panda, that's the first thing you heard. It makes you, because you have the positive correlation between Designer and his first song, it makes you more receptive and more open to listening to his other songs and trying to accept that other song as
Exactly.
good.
Exactly. I have another great example here. Your interpretation of that is perfect, Eddie. That's perfect. So the thing is that, like, for example, when you like a person, right? Like, as a
Yes, sir.
friend, as a girlfriend, it doesn't really matter. When you like a person, right? You want to be friends for like, oh, I don't know, you want
Eternity.
eternity. Okay. So, so for example, you want to be friends or you want to date a person, right? You really like by like his or her physical appearance, right? You would probably ignore or don't pay attention to some of like this person's flaw, because as you just said, you become more receptive and more open to those things, and you start to ignore them because this first impression that was made, that you like them visually, right, there's something good associated with that person at first, right, by their like physical appearance, and that's coming back to the interviews and to people like tall people being rated high intelligent and all that. That's like all the same, and this goes on and on. Like, there are so many applications of this halo effect,
And
so
that could be
many.
taken like opposite as well.
Yes,
Like, if you don't like a person, you become a lot more closed. You're not receptive to their things. And if a person
exactly.
that you don't like shows positive attributes, you're more likely to like reject those positive attributes and ignore them for the negative one, because that's what you've already associated with them.
Yeah,
So, I mean, I guess this again, I feel like every topic with psychology you can go very, very, very far and very wide and broad. But with this one, like, I guess it goes with how open-minded a person is. Like, how, like, if there's an idea that you hate, you're likely not going to be very receptive to it. And I think that's kind of where it comes into play, where you have to, as a person, be a lot more like aware of your biases and understand that, okay, I hate chocolate. So maybe, and someone tries to suggest you eat chocolate cake, your automatic assumption will be, I will hate chocolate cake. Um, or like strawberry, and it's like, oh, all of a sudden I will definitely hate strawberry banana smoothies. It's like the bias of you not liking strawberries doesn't make you like strawberry bananas. So you have to be aware of that bias, and you have to like be like, oh, I'll try strawberry banana smoothies. It's likely that you'll not like it, but you can't be completely closed off to it and be completely non-receptive. It's
yeah, you're absolutely right. Yeah, you're absolutely right. I'm trying to think of something that we didn't talk about in this thing. Hmm. Do you remember anything that we didn't talk about, Eddie? Because remember in the beginning of the podcast, I mentioned a couple of things that I wanted to talk about. Do you remember what those things were? I think we mentioned them all, didn't we?
I don't even remember what you told me that you were going to mention, but yes, I assume so.
Okay, okay. I'm just
Oh,
trying to.
for the thing we kept mentioning about your conscious, your preconscious, and your unconscious brain, that was like the Sigmund Freud thing, right? Do you know who he is?
I know who is Freud, of course. I don't know who is.
Yeah, it's like the Freudian like experiments where he like explained how your brain works, like the three levels to it, like the iceberg thing. Like we have the iceberg at the top, and that's your conscious brain, and then you have the ice under the water but still visible, and that's your preconscious, and then this huge thick man on the bottom, thick bucket of ice, whereas like all your entirety of your unconscious mind and how that affects your thinking. That's like
Okay.
a whole different like
No, I know.
world.
Yeah.
Um,
I actually
section of
know
it.
about it. Yeah. And
Other
Daniel,
than that,
remember I mentioned Daniel Kahneman today, right? The
oh, yeah,
psychology,
the book. Mhm.
the book. Yeah. I'm still trying to remember the name of the book, but never mind.
Just search it up. Here, we'll just give it a look.
Yeah, just
How do you
just
spell his last name? Daniel what?
Kahn
Oh,
E.
got it.
Yeah.
Thinking Fast and Slow. That's the book.
Thinking Fast and Slow. I was almost right. I was
Yeah.
almost
Oh, I literally saw he's an American Israeli psychologist, and he is notable for his work in psychology of judgment and decision making in
yeah,
behavioral
exactly.
economics, which
Yes,
is
yes, yes, yes,
yeah,
yes.
seems
So
like an interesting book actually. I might give it a read.
yeah, it's a great book. I highly recommend like everyone to read it because it actually changed the way I perceive my own actions and the actions of others because there is so much more to it. We think that it's only about the consciousness, it's only like you making the decisions, but it's not at
Definitely.
all. And yeah, going off what you Eddie said about the Freudian psychology, that there's this iceberg notion, right? Daniel Kahneman kind of goes off from there as well. So I
Yes.
mentioned system one and system two. So system one is actually your unconsciousness. It's something that like is very quick. It's very quick, but it's not productive. You can't like for you can't solve 125 multiplied by 83 like that if you haven't like heard of that before,
Mhm.
uh or unless you're like
A genius.
a genius or you're very very good in mental math, right? You just can't do it. You have to like consciously think about it. You have to engage your system too. And that's where it comes to system two. System two is slow, but it's much, much more proficient at solving hard tasks. When you're trying to connect some things together, right? When you're trying to solve like a long like a two
A
or maybe
word problem.
a word problem, right? Yeah, maybe like any solution that requires multiple steps would involve system two thinking. And the typically one step solution, right,
Hmm.
is system one thinking. So just keep it in mind because we like people just label it subconsciousness, consciousness, and that's pretty easy. That's like level one, right? But if you want to be at level five, right, just name it system one and system two. That's just a little tip. Maybe if you'll be talking to your friends, guys,
And you just
and
pull up the word system too, and they're like,
oh,
"What are you
yeah, yeah.
talking about?"
Yo, actually, just system two is saying you to buy that ice cream. I don't know, bro. Like maybe system two, maybe your system one is against it, but your system two is just like okay, you need to buy that ice cream.
No, it's usually the opposite.
It's actually I was about to say that. I was about to
Yeah,
say
your system one's like, I need that ice cream. No,
yeah.
no, no. Yeah, yeah. And then your system two is like, yo, like I want ice cream really badly.
Yes, yes, exactly. Yeah, you're
No,
right.
no, no. Wait, no, I just said it incorrectly. Your system one wants the ice cream. Your system two is like, no, you can't have ice cream.
Yes, yes, but
Yes, yeah, that's how it goes.
your system one would still be like would still be justifying your like the action of
Yeah,
eating your
you're
ice cream.
craving.
You're craving. Yeah, you're right. You're actually right. And maybe we should talk about system one and system two like in more depth and talk about
Yeah,
like Freudian psychology, but not today because
yeah.
today we started with the halo effect, and I think we're done with that. I mean,
Yeah,
I don't know.
we've come so far. I
Yeah,
mean, I
what?
don't think we can ever be done with the topic, but like that was a pretty like descriptive way.
Yeah,
I mean, I think that kind of covers it
yeah,
decently well for students like
yeah.
us. I mean,
No, I
these
totally agree.
applications. Hmm.
I totally agree. And you know what? I think we should wrap it up because yeah,
Sounds like a plan.
sounds like a panel. All right, guys, this was episode 3 of our Brain Teasers podcast. We discussed the halo effect, the Thorndike effect, the horn effect, and
There's no such thing as a Thorndike effect, but sure.
you know what I try to say, right?
Yeah. Okay.
Okay, that's good.
And
So
also, if you guys have any suggestions about what you guys want to listen to, or like any topics that you want to discuss, or something that you guys are interested in, shoot us an email, and we'll see what it is, and we'll talk about it. It's
yeah, and
no big deal.
also, if you want to participate in our podcast,
Oh
like
yeah, big facts.
yeah, if you want to
We'll
participate,
we'll have some guests on soon.
yeah,
So if you guys have any specific guests you guys want, it could be something that we know. It could be, I mean, like if it's like, I don't know if it could be Bill Gates, I'll shoot him an email. We'll see how that works. But like,
we'll give it a try. Yeah, we'll give it
we'll
a try.
try.
Yeah,
But
but
yes.
still, thank you guys for listening, and yeah, we'll see you next week. All right,
All right. See you guys.
see you.